Hi, I'm John Dutton, and with this is Spilled Ink. It is a day after Thanksgiving, so we are doing our gratitude edition of Spilled Ink. I'm looking forward to it, as I'm always looking forward to it each and every month. It seems like we're going to have a good crowd. We got a lot of people here tonight, 3 first-timers, so we love first-timers. So if you know people that you want to invite, invite them. So we're the more the merrier. All right, I have a poem I wrote, and let me pull it up here. It's called The Lost Summer. All right. The Lost Summer. March 13th, it was a Friday, was definitely bewitched. And not only for the nefarious connections tied to the number, it was the last day of school of the 2019-2020 school year. Though the students, teachers, and staff didn't know it, the COVID-19 outbreak brought forth a pandemic with the only option to effectively slow the spread being to maintain social distancing of a minimum 6 feet. Teachers held online learning sessions with their students, but those went the way of the dodo bird. The students fluttered away as the work was deemed optional. Netflix, board games, and puzzles can only fill so many days. Houses transform and gardens flourish. Long walks under the sun slowly battle the disease. The introverts rejoice and the extroverts suffer. Toilet paper, paper products, and hand sanitizer soon vanish. Worst yet, summer plans fizzle like a dying propane tank. Vacations disappear and despair sets in. Beachgoers blow away like sand from the shore. Recreational vehicles sit idle while flights are jettisoned. Summer sports leagues and camps cancel any hope of parental rejuvenation. The ultimate gut punch occurs when grandparents cannot be utilized. The much needed respite, which refuels all teachers, rolls by as a tumbleweed tumbles along the dusty plains. My deck is now my refuge. The dog is now my best friend. The stack of tomes, my only hope of passing the time. My motivation is sucked dry as the protective clouds evaporate. The summer morphs into one long, fitful nap. I wonder if this pandemic is ever going to end. And that is The Lost Summer. Yes. All right. And it's still going on, as we all know, because most of us have stayed home for Thanksgiving, and we're planning to do the same thing for Christmas. So I like that we are staying safe. I hope we're all scribbling out there. All right, let's see. Let's start it off with, let's go Brian Donald James, since he had so much trouble getting in tonight. Let's start you out. All right. Hopefully it works. All right, Brian.
All righty. Well, as you can see, I'm traveling. So thank you for waiting. I I'm really unprepared, but I can do Black Ballerina. It's just one piece, and I pretty much have that by memory. So Black Ballerina. With worn down black shoes and a faded pink dress, danced Katrina, the ballerina above all the rest. A young lady of color, eyes of coal. She grants a smile and invigorates my soul. Twirling and leaping, higher and higher, adrenaline flowing to an undying fire. But no sweat upon my Katrina, just the moonlight in mine eyes upon thee, the ballerina for all the world to see, capturing, entrancing. Such a lovely sight is my love, surpassing this starlit night. She smiled at me once more and gracefully took her bow, but never shall I forget the warmth and the happiness I felt just now, and forevermore she shall be my black ballerina. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. That was wonderful. And it's perfect timing because I know we're going to get to see the Nutcracker many times in the next month. So spot on as always, Mr. James. Nicely
Thank
done.
you.
All right, let's go. Robert Fleming. Robert Fleming, you are up. Take it away.
Good evening. I'm Robert. I'm a writer from Delaware. I'm going to read something related to our discussion at the beginning about recipes. It's called Recipe for Murder. Pick a motive, pick a modus operandi, pick a murderer, pick a victim, pick a weapon, pick a place, pick a time, murder picked. Following this, I have two short headlines like you would write in a newspaper. I'm going to read one of them. It's called Murder Headlines. The word count is 42. Augustus poisoned Tiberius Emperor. Augustus Roman Emperor dead after 30-year rule. Augustus ate ripe figs from the garden fig tree. Thallium poisoning is suspected. Augustus is survived by his wife, Livia, of 28 years. Tiberius, Livia's son, claims Emperor of Rome. And let me read something else, which is different. I'll read a short flash fiction piece. This is called Red and Scarlet at the Fence. Red didn't say he loved me. No gifts of green velvet to make a dress. That wooden fence splintering into my legs, just shaved with a knife and pig's grease. Rhett grabbed my buttock and pressed his mustache on my upper lips. He said the war was for fools. Rhett promised to care for me. When he said he was joining the war, I laughed. It wasn't a joke. How can Rhett choose war over me? Even Mammy couldn't answer. Did I wear the wrong dress? I should have flattered him. Fiddly-dee, men and their wars. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. I'm like, what a diversity. We go from murder to Gone with the Wind. I was thinking when you were doing your murders, I was like, oh, this is like I'm a movie buff, so I'm thinking, oh, this is like Clue or Knives Out, and then we have right into some history and right into Gone with the Wind. You are all over the classics tonight. All right. All right, let's go. Robbie Krieger, Robbie Rise Krieger.
Hey guys, good old Mr. Joey Rise here. Middle name's Joseph. Mom always wanted to name me that, but yes, Rise. Part of an epic poem I wrote about my adventure on the Appalachian Trail. We've been through Georgia, North Carolina, and Tennessee, and now we're in the fourth state, trekking through Southern Virginia. Here goes. Hercules was back in the hickory, clattering with the caboose. We've been separated for 6 nights, as I have frolicked ahead, footloose. Completing 1/4 of this quest, I was snagged by Stone Mountain, retiring in order to rest. It was 1 o'clock, early afternoon, and I had a hunch that Herc would get his guitar in tune. Searching out a stream site, I peeped one down and off the path, submitting to a siesta. Tomorrow I may see my twin dabbling in a future fiesta. Eventually, Evening came trickling by my tent. This sedative scene was mindful and meditative. That's what it meant. The convoy was up on the crest, foreign to this foliage, knowing only zeal and zest. Sleeping at the stream after Stone Mountain, the chirping cardinal was my melodious maternal alarm with a red rectitude that said, "My son, please keep a positive attitude." Exploring the old apple orchard, I saw that Hercules was already at the shelter. Correct in my calculation, we eagerly swapped stories with remarkable jubilation. What a surprise to seek. We were on our own walks without each other for a week. Out of anger, I had hurt my hand. First broken bone, year before. Yes, the quicksand. I swore I'd never be such a brute. And now the lameness was throbbing, but Herc helped me, saying, "You need to stop your sobbing. Your hand won't heal any faster if you don't think good thoughts. It's all mental. You are the master." Encouraged by his optimism, we spoke to a scout troop, another part of the prism. Answering questions about the outdoors, we tried to guide and give advice on overcoming nature's endless wars. Then we wandered out of the old apple orchard, fretting about our finances, money issues we must abide. Just never forget the adage, the trail will provide. Stumbling through the sequence, an evening setting at Trimpey Shelter, composed new characters, the village smithy and the smelter, were all based in this book of novel names, hikers who crackle and cook with sizzling fire souls, hoping to get off the hook. Tumblin' Joe rolled down from Rhode Island, and Whitebeard used to be monk. Numbers talked to Hercules before we fell asleep in the bunk. Then my water bottle hit the bottom, waking everyone with a clunk. At daybreak, we wobbled on. Pizza in partnership shelter is a delicacy we were drawn. My friend Jason soon found us, cruising by in his car. We eventually made it to Marion after a stint on the tar. He had a cabin by the creek, violin of the valley that the surrounding ridges did seek. In the morning, I listened to her music as the sun rose over the peak. The gloves of sprouting Hope Garden refined each bed and row, worn down by the work of holding on to the hoe. After taking us on a tour, you could tell that Jason gave all to the garden. An environmental leader in college, my humility continues to harden. Like a seed that grows into a stem, we are basil, onion, pepper, and corn, connected to each and every one of them. Back inside at the table, I tasted some groundhog. Lunch sure didn't have a label. I know it sounds a little nuts, but please give me a bite of credit. Swallowing that took guts. In the morn, we swigged moonshine on the stoop, warmed by the wood stove before toasting to our troop. After 2 nights, Hercules was back on trail. I stayed one more because third's a charm, shouldn't fail. I'm going to miss you, Marion, in your cabin by the creek. Friendship gave me an angel whose compassion was not weak. That's all I got. Thank you all for listening.
Awesome job, Robbie. I'm always impressed how you just have that all memorized in your brain. Oh my gosh, it's fantastic. Nicely done. All right, let's go Paulette. Paulette, you are up.
So this is a new poem. It's called Always Blameless. Some people call her names. Of course, that's not fair. Others cast blames like arrows flying indiscriminately through the air, creating an onslaught of tumult, all because things didn't go their way. Reality is blameless, unbendable, and steadfast. She cannot be cajoled, coaxed, or charmed. Reality always gets her way.
Thank you, Paulette. Thank you very much. All right, let's go Lesley Tyson. And I believe is it Bogart? Is Bogart joining us?
Bogart is taking a break and irritating his housemate Lauren.
Wonderful. All right.
So I have to do shameless plug. I got my proof copy today of What Never Changes. It's the little book I did with the 15-day poem challenge earlier this summer. It is available on Amazon, and also available on Amazon, haven't seen the copy yet, is my 14 haiku challenge, A Stone in the Rain. And a little piece of interest on that one is the cover art is by my goddaughter. So just like I say, shameless plug on those two. All right, now let's see, can I find the poems I brought up? Okay, oh great. This is going to be a good one. Trying to get all the windows closed. Okay. Oh, come on. How many Word documents do I have open? Apparently not the one I thought. Shoot. Oh yeah, I do. Okay. So this first one is there's the November Poem a Day challenge that Writer's Digest does. And so he gives a daily prompt, and, you know, so I'm trying to keep up with that. I'm a day behind. So one of his prompts is to write a response poem to a previous poem you've written. So this is Memories No One Knows, is written in response to a poem I did for the New York Poetry Recipe. So this is a response, and it's missing some elements from the New York Poetry Recipe, but it's a response. And one of these days I'll share that, except for, you know, yeah, but I can't leave out that word. Anyway, so Memories No One Knows. Adventure, covert search for sustenance, my voice fuzzed by my mask of cosmic events. I announce who I am and that I am here to pick up the order for Pad CU. Pad CU with chicken and golden tofu. I'm here to pick up the order for Pad CU and golden tofu. Gloved hands exchange packages and payment, and I elbow my way through the door of Thai Palace and stride toward my car, passing the empty patio and dark windows that used to be Paolo's, another terminal victim. Nobody's eye to catch this time, and no reason to look back. The old crew scattered either to the West Coast or heavenward, if one believes in last-minute redemption. Once home, I savor the salty tang of food he never tried. He won't be calling that landline this time. An anchor jettisoned when there was no one left to call it, especially him. I tuck myself in between cats and know the door stays safely locked. And this next one is, I'm not sure which prompt this is. I think this may be one of my prompts from, I have a whole series of books that Phil's carrier bag of poetry prompt books. Labels are not names. I remember the journey here, my story laid out like a path paved to this day. No need to autograph each step because I know my name would not desert me forever. So carefully do I choose to preserve it. Almost always I walk anonymously through crowds. Any names they call me, only temporary labels. It doesn't matter they don't know me. It is enough that they don't label me, target or threat. Harmless, insignificant, familiar patches I add to my camouflage. My name always finds me when I need it.
I like that one. Thank you on that last one. Very cool.
Yeah, and then this other one is called, the prompt was write a target poem. So this is Lesley's strange take. Aim. I don't think in terms of precision. Such specifics never quite satisfactory, even if achieved by bullseye. Horizon and sunset enough to target, to finalize a day, even obstacles and distraction part of the experience. Completion isn't a single point, one-time triumph. Targets reinvent themselves daily, and the horizon keeps moving out of reach, so it takes lifetimes to reach the sunset where there is no dreaming after dark.
Thank you, Lesley. Much appreciated. Very nice. I like the imagery on that last one too. All right, let's go to Will's. Will's do one. All right, Will.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can, loud and clear. I got some
All
time.
right.
Go for it.
I got 3 poems. A couple are old, but 2 of them are from about Thanksgiving. You know, usually we have like our Thanksgiving at home. We usually have like tons of food. Like all of our family members come in. We just laugh. Unfortunately, the only option is takeout and pretty much just hang out and just eat by ourselves and hang out. But anyway, it's really good. I enjoy it. In fact, I got 2 Thanksgiving poems. The first one is called Thanksgivingless. It goes something like this. Do you know what the whole world should be thankful? Perhaps these things would do. Fulfillment, ambition, moments, intelligence, love, you. These I am personally thankful for. Hope one of these will help you in the future. That's Thanksgivingless. And another one I shared to my Facebook poetry site called Will's the One, which by the way, I got 600 likes so far. So hopefully I'll be able to, get more in the next month, So if you're not familiar about it, I'll send you the information in the chat. So the next one is called Thankful. Let's gather around with your loved ones from across town. I am blessed to be here. I am blessed to be here. I have comfort in my home. I will never be alone. I'm thankful. Tell the family that you're coming back home from a long trip. Love each other is the most important tip. I can't believe this time has come. I can't believe this time has come. I have a purpose. Finally, I have a purpose. I'm thankful. And that is thankful. And my last one is I've written this a couple of months ago. It's pretty much old, but it's pretty much new to everyone. It's called Live Your Life. Watching the leaves turn brown, seasons changing, and seeing them falling down, the air is raging. There is no excuse for staying indoors, being such a bore. In this time of crisis, live your life. I know you feel this way, so stop moping around and head downtown. Let's go see the bay. Are you living your life? Yes. Are the other folks looking at you like, looking at you? Are you living your life? Good. Live your life, live your life, live your life. I'm Will's the One. Thank you for your time.
Nicely done, Wills. I think everyone loved your thankful poem. I think everyone hit that to heart. So that was a perfect one for our day after Thanksgiving. So nicely done, Wills. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. I have it on my site. I have it on my site for Facebook, so I'll write it down on the chat and check out.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Will.
All right.
All right, now I'm going to go to some of the first timers. So we're going to go to Marty Crowley because it's beauty before age. So I'm sorry, Michael, you can go after your wife. So Marty's going to go first. She's a first timer. She's watched us many times. So here it is, Marty. Unmute yourself and take it away.
Okay, can you hear me?
Perfect. Nicely done, Marty. You're up. Go for it.
Okay. Okay, Will's is on the screen. Will's? Will's, you're on the screen.
No, you're good. You're up, Marty. You're talking.
Okay,
You're up. Go for it.
okay.
Yeah.
This is called Terror, and it's a personal essay. Everything that's in it is the truth. I needed to use the bathroom. I was so weak that I fell down. I could not get up. Mike had to call the EMTs to get me up. My blood pressure was extremely low. The EMTs wanted me to go to the hospital. I hate to go to the emergency room. I felt so weak and nauseous that I finally agreed to go. The doctor immediately admitted me to an isolation room. Everyone that came in had to wear protective gear. I felt so nauseated that the nurse gave me a little U-shaped dish. I knew that it was not going to be large enough. Mike grabbed a trash can for me. To my horror, it was not typical vomit. It was great stringy blobs of blood. I easily filled the trash can with so much blood. I used the U-shaped dish for a moment while Mike dumped the blood for me. The nurse fussed with Mike because the trash can was unsanitary. I did not care. I did not want a lap full of blood, so I got the trash can back. I continued to vomit blood for hours. The doctors ran so many tests. Finally, they wanted me to have a bone marrow test. I refused that test because I had heard it was horribly painful. In the end, the doctors and my family talked me into it. I did not realize that the test was surgery. It would not be painful because I would be under anesthesia. I was a bit sore afterwards, but no more than dental work. The doctors told us that the test had to be completed at UVA. It would take about a week to get the results back. That was one scary week. All the blood vomiting had been caused by a reaction to methotrexate, a medication that I had taken for months to treat my rheumatoid arthritis. I was disappointed that I had to go off the methotrexate because it had helped me so much with the pain of RA, but the doctors had worse news for me. They had already told Mike and my sister. I knew enough to realize something was really bad. Mike and my sister were unable to be with me without crying a little. I have MDS. It is an incurable form of cancer. unless a person could survive a bone marrow transplant. My daughter immediately volunteered, but because of my age and my other health issues, the medical team did not think I could survive that operation. They sent in a lovely man to see me. I rather quickly deduced that he was a psychiatrist, and his job was to help me with end-of-life dilemma. Mike and I had fortunately already made our wishes known. I figured that I was done for, which really was not all that frightening to me, as long as it was not a painful way of going. You see, MDS is a form of cancer that can be treated if I can tolerate the therapy. I was familiar with chemo because I had had it when my daughter was only 3. I had to endure it for her sake. I was only 34, and I vowed that I would never go through chemo again. My oncology team explained to me that the chemo required was much easier to tolerate than what I had had before. The oncologist told it to me straight, and I was thankful. It was hard, but they installed a port in my chest. It's right here. The port allows me, oh, I missed my spot. The port allows them to directly infuse the medication. Before, they had to stick needles in my arm, my hands, my breasts, and even my foot. And it was painful, very painful. Now I need to have infusions every day for a week, once a month, and also for the rest of my life. I also need frequent blood tests, occasional iron infusions, and blood transfusions, and from time to time, a drug called Procrit to help with anemia. I have tolerated the treatment very well, and now I have been in semi-remission for over 1.5 years. In February, Mike and I even took a cruise before COVID was a factor. It was a lovely vacation right before COVID-19 caused the lockdown of so many cities in the United States and all over the world. To me, COVID is so much worse than the cancer. I hate to just Zoom or talk on the phone with my family and friends. We are afraid to even go to the grocery store. Thank goodness for Amazon. We get most of our groceries from Whole Foods and Amazon Fresh. It is incredibly good food. We so seldom went to Whole Foods because it is so expensive. Fortunately, Mike and I have a nice retirement income, so it is not that bad. We don't eat that much compared to what we used to eat. We do drink more, but that is mostly Friday nights. Mike and I have parties with only us. We get drunk and watch lots of music on YouTube. Plus, we listen to some of our thousands of CDs. Our CDs are a lifelong collection. We like many different types of music, so we need to have all those CDs. Actually, life for me is still worth living. My doctors have now told me that because of my response to my chemo, I could possibly even live another 11 years. That would put me in my 80s, and it will mean that I had a life well lived.
That was fantastic, Marty. That was fantastic.
That was my first writing I've ever done.
It was wonderful. I mean, it was just a wonderful story. I'm
Yeah.
glad you shared that with us. I think everyone's inspired by that. I'm thinking it's awesome. You know, I'm like,
Oh my.
it was. I mean,
Yes.
I mean, just think you got Michael. I got all those. I mean, if any time you need to go out on the road and have him start singing, because I mean, the man can sing. He knows I love his songs. I'm waiting for him to cut his first CD. All right, I'm ready to be his agent for you, Marty. I'm telling you, we could be like the Colonel, and we could be like Colonel and Elvis right there. I'm telling you, it would work. All right. That
He's
was
a
absolutely,
wonderful partner.
honestly, that was absolutely wonderful, Marty. Thank you for sharing that. And we're going to go.
May I say one more thing?
Sure.
Robbie Krieger.
Yes,
Do you know the Doors?
yes, I do.
Yep.
Yep,
I
I
know
get that one a
Robbie
lot.
Krieger, but
Yep.
he just died recently.
I think we can have Robbie open for
really?
Michael anytime. I mean, I'm sure he's got that acoustic guitar behind him. We
Yeah,
can have
I do, yeah.
Robbie,
I
Rise Krieger opening for Michael Crowley. We can
still owe you guys a song or
we
two.
can tour America. I think it would be awesome. And Mike and I and Marty and the rest of us will go in our nice tour bus. And Robbie, he'll just put his guitar on his back and he'll just hike there. You know,
Yeah, right. I know. Just
Right.
make sure music, poetry,
Exactly.
that's all you
All
need.
right, we're gonna go to her better half, Michael Crowley, with that wonderful background. Look at all that. Are those eggs? I think they're eggs this time.
Yeah.
All right, Michael, take it away.
Okay, that has to do with the last poem I'm going to do. Okay, the first one is called Visceral Appropriation. And while I was doing the, watching the, you want to make sure, Marty. Oh, yeah, but you're not, I need you to mute your whole audio. Okay, I'm sorry.
I understand. I understand what's happening.
Give me just a second here.
Sure, because I know that's what happened with when I was with Alice. They'd get a little vibration going because they're so close. So he's just going to go and make sure Marty's computer is turned down. So
Looks like she's muted.
I thought she was.
Oh, it's not a matter of muting. We're in the same room, so an echo occurs.
That's right. The
There's that little
echo.
lag.
Paulette and I found out when we were at Alice's.
Yeah.
All right, go take it away, Michael. Thank you.
Okay. The first one, as I was saying, that I was watching one of the Dodge Poetry Festival, and you know, I sort of watched it after the fact because there was just too much going on, and they do allow you to do that. And as I was watching it, an idea came into my head, and I'd scribble it down, and then I'd listen to more of it, and then I'd say, oh, wait a minute, I got another idea, and I'd write that down. So I did this 3 or 4 times. I ended up not using any of the stuff that I wrote down, but it was still the inspiration for this poem. It was called Visceral Appropriation. The myth of history and the aesthetic of empathy belong to me. The blindness of emotion and the fickle of knowledge belong to me. The fruited plain and the scorched earth belong to me, for I am human and fabricated matter. Okay, this is another one where I took a poetry form from from Writer's Digest. I used to know how to pronounce it, but I'm going to say rime cuit. And the rime cuit is a French poetic form. There's 6 line stanzas, 3 part rhyme scheme, which is AABCCB. And I'll put in the chat the name of it. This is called Release the Centaur. Imprisoned for his wild nature, branded as a troublemaker, he sits and waits alone. His equine body loathes the cage, his human soul is filled with rage, his future is unknown. From far away, is it a dream? He hears her voice let out a scream. Please let that creature go. There's a part of him that's still a man. Forget the lies of that vile Pan. He thrives on causing woe. Now see here, miss, Pan has the right to say Chiron provoked a fight. You know he's Hermes' son. When we must judge who has deceived, the law clearly states we must believe God over anyone. When in time Chiron was released, his valiant love was long deceased. His grief never ended. His home, his job, and money gone, he knew that he could not go on. To Hades he descended. And the third one is lighter, and that the background is for the third one. It's called Insomnia. Now I lay me down to sleep. Now I lay me down to sleep. Let's see, if I finish the return items notice project by Thursday, I can probably get the address object update project finished by the end of next week. Oh, I forgot to tell Mary the tax update date came in. Now I lay me down to sleep. Now I lay me down to sleep. I shouldn't have said that to Sandy. What was I thinking? Now I lay me down to sleep. Am I not sleeping because I'm thinking, or am I thinking because I'm not sleeping? I guess it's a chicken or the egg kind of thing. I've got to stop thinking. Think about nothing. Blank your mind. Om mane padme hum. Om mane padme hum. Om mane padme hum. The egg. There were dinosaurs laying eggs long before chickens even thought about hatching. Of course, if you phrased the question, which came first, the chicken or the chicken egg, well, then you'd have a whole different kettle of broth. Now I lay me down to sleep. Now I lay me down to sleep. I guess it would depend upon how you define chicken egg. If you defined a chicken egg, if a chicken egg is a chicken egg because it was laid by a chicken, then the chicken came first. But if a chicken egg is a chicken egg because it produces a chicken, then the egg came first. Aspirin and solitaire. It's time to take a couple of extra strength Tylenol and play a few hands of solitaire. Oh my God, it's 2 a.m. It'll be at least 2:30 before I'm asleep. Better set the alarm clock back. Now I lay me down to sleep. Now I lay me down to sleep. Of course, it's a moot point in our day and age, but at some point in evolutionary history, some bird which was not a chicken laid an egg which became a chicken, and that egg created eons ago is the crux of the philosophical date. Now I lay me down to sleep, damn it. Of course, that assumes you believe in evolution. If not, then no one except God knows, because man was the last of God's creations. So there were no men around to see if God just popped a chicken into existence, or if he made an egg which hatched. I should call the boss now and leave a message on her answering machine saying I'm going to be late, and then shut the alarm off. Now I lay me down to sleep. I might have told the prophet, I suppose. Did we recover all the Dead Sea Scrolls? And God said unto Adam, I made the chicken first. Zzz. That's it.
Oh my gosh, that was
Hilarious.
fantastic.
I
It
love
was
that, man.
awesome, Michael Crowley.
It was
Nicely done. Oh my gosh. I can see everybody. So everybody who who's ever done that, give me an emoji. I don't care what it is. Just let me see how many of you were going like, oh my God, that's me. I've done that so often. Oh my gosh. I do this one, Mike. It's like, all right, if I go to sleep right now, that means I'll have 6 hours. If I go to bed right now, I'll have 5 hours and a half. If I go to bed right now, oh yes. Oh my gosh. And Mike, I loved the Centaur poem. I really did. I loved the Centaur poem. That was my favorite. So thank you. Thank you for bringing Marty tonight. Awesome job. Husband and wife. I loved it. All right, we're going to go right now to, I don't have any information. I just have Jim. I don't know who, if Jim's ever been here before, so I'm assuming he's new. So I'm assuming, Jim, this is your first time. So let's see if you can unmute and take it away. I think he has 3 poems he was going to read.
This is Jim Boucher. I have been.
Oh, Jim, thank you.
Karate.
Okay.
Yeah, many times, but this is the first time I'm doing the
Zoom. Excellent. All right, Jim. I love he's our. I always tell people about you and your the librarian poem.
Yes.
So, all right, Jim, take it away.
Yeah, what happened was my cassette player broke down, so I bought a new one, and that gave me a microphone, so I can contact you verbally.
Well, I love it. I'm so glad
don't
you
have a
brought
camera.
us.
So until I get a camera, I'm doing it just verbally.
I love it. I love it. Thank you. Take it away.
Okay, the first poem is about a room called the Orangery at Dumbarton Oaks in DC. Along the bower with fig leaves flowering, years gone by now are sending the vines towering, God's teeming power. The second poem is about endeavoring, whether it be hiking a mountaintop, a marriage proposal, a pregnancy, or any creative pursuit. It's called Traverse. Reliant says sure, watchful someday ensuing, beckoned with pleasure, hopeful somewhat enduring, reckoned to measure, faithful somehow ensuring, radiant treasure. The third poem is called Astute Study. Queen Victoria, regal woman with moxie, century standard. Saxe-Coburg linkage, mother, Governess Leighton, Uncle Leopold. Restrained in childhood, mother directed her life, burst into queendom. Towering monarch, though somewhat short in stature, ruled with high regard. As trusted mentor, Laud M, her early touchstone, her first choice, of course. Wedded Prince Albert, yielded form simply for him, partner, not subject. Consorted with Prince, their bedtime activities were well rewarded. Success with children, princes and princesses 9, 1 to become king. The Crystal Palace of the Great Exposition presented progress. Tennyson, Dickens, Hardy, Gaskell, and Trollope led British wordsmiths. Diamond Jubilee, colorful cheering reviews, thanked beloved people. Roused Britain to rise, prized sustainer in repose, poised domain to praise. That's it.
Thank you, Jim. I appreciate it. I'm glad you chimed in tonight. So much appreciated. I do love the last one with all the references. So nicely done. And once again, thank you. Thank you for coming in tonight.
Okay. Thank you, everybody.
You got it. Gail Williams, I believe Gail is also having some screen issues, but I think she can hear us. So I'm just going to have her go to make sure we don't lose her. So Gail, unmute yourself and take it away. Let's see if it works.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. All right. Take
Okay.
it away.
Because I don't see any, now I see you. Okay, this is called The Blue Couch. I hate to paint. About 20 years ago, I painted my living room a color whose nonsensical name happened to fit with my novel. I believe names for paint, room sprays, soaps, and such are determined by two people simultaneously throwing darts at random words. Ocean breeze, fresh linen, ocean scent, what? Golden wheat. Since I have an old house, I was advised to texture the paint to hide the flaws in the plaster walls. It looked pretty good until a few years ago when the paint started peeling off in chunks or small pieces, revealing decades-old layers. I always apologize to visitors about the condition of the walls, which of course made them notice the condition of the walls. I have no idea why, but most of the peeling was on the longest wall in the room, which also happened to be where I positioned a couch for 36 years, with a few experimental relocations that didn't work out for me. The last couch had been there for about 19 years. I know that because Daddy and I were sitting on it the night he passed away. And about 2 years before that, I found it at Salvation Army. So who knows how old it was before that. It was striped yellowish, beigeish, brownish, and didn't quite match the walls, but I made it kind of work cheaply by making matching valances and pillows and adding throws and objects to help it blend in. When I took time to relax and watch TV, I laid on that couch. After it suffered from years of use and then mice taking nesting material from the bottom, I had Lowe's cut a board to support the frame. After the cushions became too worn and uneven, I covered the entire couch with nice gold-colored bedspread someone gave me a few years prior. I had to adjust it frequently to keep it decent looking. Excuse me. One day this summer, I woke up with a hair up my butt. The couch has got to go. As I glowered at it, I recognized a problem. I could manage the cost of a new couch, but I didn't have a way to dispose of this thing. Fortunately, a friend happened to be hauling away junk for a neighbor, so for a few bucks and my help in loading it onto his trailer, the eyesore was gone. The room was now missing a big something. I still had a rocker and a chair, but I couldn't lay down and watch TV. I hadn't shopped for new furniture in decades. I didn't even know where to begin. But I ran across the store that took over the Manassas Toys R Us space. It had huge, bright store clearance signs that drew in shoppers like me. I was shocked at the prices. So I told the associate that I was looking for something a little less showcasey. After showing me some of the less expensive ones, we finally arrived at two identical gray and blue couches. I chose the blue one, which would be delivered in 2 weeks. While I waited, the damaged wall was crying out for help and advising me that I could not put that new couch against it. I reluctantly agreed because that meant I'd have to paint it. I can do this, I told myself. Just buy some paint, brushes, and a tray. Oh, wait. Since I have no eye for color, I should start with color strips to see what goes with the remaining 3 walls. I carried a chunk I'd pulled off the wall to Lowe's for suggestions for blues that could go with the remaining 3 walls, but was told they weren't allowed to help with that. Way to go, paint guy. I must have looked like the world's most indecisive customer. I finally picked 3 strips and taped them to the wall for a week or so before I chose the winner. I forgot the name, but of course it was ridiculous. I did not go back to Lowe's, but to the beloved hardware store, J.E. Rice for you locals, where they matched the color and ensured that I got everything I needed, including advice. By the way, I've been there many times since then for the great customer service for just a little more than the big boxes. I started scraping the old paint off the wall before I chose the new one and almost immediately regretted my decision. Fortunately, it was too late. Even though it was the biggest wall in the room, I thought it would only take a few hours, several hours at the most. I was still at it a week later after working at least a couple hours a day. I couldn't believe it. Paint had been chipping off on its own for a long time, and now most of the rest was stubbornly attached to the wall. After some sanding and wiping, it was finally time to paint. I did a fair job, meaning I got way less paint on the ceiling woodwork and myself than I anticipated. I was finished. The couch had come and it was time to push it into place. And then the baseboards jumped out at me. I thought they were white until I realized they used to be white. Simple operation. Back to J.E. Rice. I hadn't noticed how much woodwork there was in that room. It's not just the baseboards. There's the trim at the dining room and hallway, both sides of my office door, including 9 window panes, the mantle, the front door frame, the inside front door, and 4 windows. I was about to paint the front door white when I decided on blue to bring the opposite walls together. I was proud of myself for coming up with that elegant touch on my own. Now I positioned the couch to start enjoying my new room. Wait, there was still something terribly wrong with the room. Nearly everything in there was to bring the colors of the old couch, area rug, and walls together, including the valances and matching pillowcases I'd made. Nearly everything had to go, but as cheaply as possible. I carried in my purse a sheet of paper with a sample of the blue paint and a chunk of the old wall as I searched for curtain and pillow material, decor, coasters, area rug, inside front mat, 3 new lampshades, a new painting to place above the couch. I relocated or recycled things I already had, found great deals at Tuesday Morning and Ollie's, and material online for the valances, tiebacks, pillows, and library table runner. At last, I was finished. I think my new living room looks great, as long as I don't look at an obvious place where I'd ruin my hardwood floor trying to clean up paint. Even months later, I often shake my head. All I wanted was a new couch. That's it.
That's how it goes. Yes, I totally understand, because my wife does the same thing. She'll get those paint samples and she'll put them up all over the wall and she'll leave them there for like a week or two, trying to finally deciding on one. So Gail, I love the memoirs. You know, I love your memoirs.
Thank you.
What has happened to, remember when you started coming to Spalding, it was all about your novel. So
yes.
What's going on with the novels? Is the trilogy done? Are you working on those? I just need to ask and find out what's going on there.
I am working on it. As a matter of fact, I found myself doing a lot more writing than usual, but what I realized was because I'm not doing so much volunteer work, I have more time to write.
All right.
But I'm almost done, but I keep painting myself into a corner that I have to keep getting out of.
That's no pun intended. Painting yourself.
That's right.
Right.
But thanks for asking. Yes, I'm hard at work. And as a matter of fact, I was going to just go ahead and if I couldn't get on Zoom, I was go back to my writing.
Excellent. Well, I'm glad you could make it. It was wonderful. Thank you, Gail. I appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody.
All right, let's go to Kimberly Ray. Kimberly Ray, take it away.
Okay. First one's going to be, it always tickles the right spot. The way gray hits the woolly fibers across his chin like individual spikes of a wheel, poking in multiple directions with fusing colors like a Monet. I graze my fingers through the fibers like walking through cornfields with long and mysterious paths that lead to depths I long to uncover. He rests his hands upon his cheek, pondering his next move, then stroking back and forth the ebony and ivory, like the piano keys he gently plays for me. The tune of his melody, deep and sweet, intrudes my darkness, brushes away the sagging of years upon my back, and aligns our eyes to meet. It always tickles the right spot. The next one is a short one. Who has your tongue? I mull over the quietness, the licking of thoughts, collected and trapped inside, blocking airwaves. Only things that escape are the redirects, anything to take the focus off what can't be seen. They'll have to perform surgery to get this out of me. And the last one is a little bit longer. You're so sentimental. He says as it relates to a date of another first we've had. It reminds me of things I shouldn't hold on to. It shouldn't matter when I first noticed the way light hit his beard, or how colors blend as in a Monet, only that I see them. It shouldn't matter when those butterflies first flew from our insides, only that they fly every time. It shouldn't matter the date of our birthdays. Every day that we exist should be celebrated. Our presence is a gift. Yet I die a little every time when it doesn't matter. Details matter, and I love all of our details. Memories serve as a card catalog that pull out certain pages of our story at any point in time. The who, what, when, where, and how, all those details matter. If you want to know the song that played as we kissed on Christmas Eve, I've got it. If you want to know the song that played as we made love in my college apartment, I know that one too. For when I hear those songs again, I set myself into that space, that moment, that autumn afternoon, as the sun set and we slipped quickly into the night. I have them all stored and ready to play. Just say the word. That's it. Thanks.
Nicely done. Thank you, Kimberly. Nicely done. Yep, you always have good imagery, and I love your titles. So thank you, Kimberly. Much appreciated. All right, Anant, you are up.
Thanks, John. Hey, everybody.
Hello, hello.
So I've been trying to do the NaNoWriMo thing, trying to complete my novella, but all I could scrape by was around 20 odd pages. What I'm going to do tonight is read some part from a chapter called The Morning. And the novella is titled Evenings by the Elms. So here it goes. Art demands a steadfast devotion, a lifelong commitment. It walks alongside of you. It observes through your eyes, feeds the world through your senses. Norm sometimes tries to draw in air or on magazine covers when he is waiting for something. Let's say at a tire shop or a service center or a doctor's office. Those magazines are almost invariably old and picked from God knows where. Norm draws on the shiny pages with his fingers. He then smiles at his non-existent, frowsy art. This morning, he searches for sketching supplies on his computer as he sips his warm tea, just the right brew. Black tea could harm kidneys, he has read somewhere recently. He adds a few items to his shopping bag, a couple of nice brushes, a dozen tubes of acrylic paint, a plastic palette, a canvas, and an aluminum floor easel, bunch of drawing sheets. He doesn't buy it though. He's not sure if he'll be able to sketch again. It has been a really long time. He remembers some distinct details pretty neat. A lot he does not. It has been wiped off clean by time and age. He's in his mid-40s. It's been 20 odd years since he drew something. It was an old country house, the ones that you see on English television. Aging homes with delusional owners stuck in the vanished grandeur of the past. Norm watched a whole series of Sherlock Holmes stories, more out of his love for the English countryside, the always gloomy sky, a bluish brownish hue, the ever sullen grungy landscape, the language nuanced, albeit a little snobbish. The Victorian house he drew had a pond nearby, the semblance of a garden, and a girl in the distant background. It looked as if the girl was holding something in her hand, some utensil of sorts, and thinking, contemplating, if you will. What could she be thinking of? Future, a house of her dreams, a family of her own, or maybe an ambition. Perhaps she was a poet in the making, scraping words out of the gloomy country air. Her thought made him sad. A dull pain throbbed in his chest. He should have worked on the painting further. It could have made him famous, been his magnum opus, his own Nessun Dorma, a house by the pond or a girl by a mansion, thinking along the gloom. He thinks about a few titles lazily after so many years. He opens a notepad on his phone and scribbles all three of them. He thinks about calling his mother in Texas She might still have the painting in her basement. She has kept all these things from her childhood, sorry. Well, his and his brothers, to be precise. Nam has a brother, an estranged one. They don't speak much. Well, they haven't spoken in about 4 years now. Last time they spoke was about some minor health scare his brother has had. Nam had tried to be nice and offer some health advice. He later regretted the conversation. His brother had appeared distant and cold toward him. There has been a chasm in the relationship, and time hadn't filled it, only deepened it further. It didn't matter anyways. It was a low hum among other sounds. Mother might have a lot of other stuff. I should drive down someday. It feels like an obligation one moment, not so much later. Nam is not sure where to put this feeling. He makes another note on his phone. It is like a crowded wall of sticky notes with things to do, call mother being one of them. He should have called her this week. He hasn't been able to get himself to do it. How difficult could it be to make a call? Amanda had asked him once. Well, I'm just too lazy to speak on the phone, he had replied with a dry smile. His day gets spent over the phone, meetings followed by meetings. The pandemic meant there were more and more meetings happening over the internet. Nam is still not comfortable using the computer audio. He prefers to use his phone instead. The world has sucked me in, he thinks. I would have been happier as an artist, or probably not. Life finds ways to make people unhappy. The pale morning has evolved into an exceptionally boring day. Nam has run out of work after a long time. All emails answered, all meetings done with. There's nothing on his agenda for the rest of the day. He's already had a few cups of unenthusiastic Earl Grey and doesn't want any more of it. So he decides to head out. He sees the couple downstairs on his way to his car. The customary wave of hands, pleasantries exchanged from beyond face masks. By now, he has become used to the masks. He has ordered a few online. Back in March and April, there were no masks to be found. It was one of those 1,000 things devoured by fear and mass paranoia. That was a part from one of the chapters. Thank you.
Thank you, Nat. I'm a big Sherlock Holmes fan, so when you dropped that in the imagery, I was like, oh, I know exactly where I am. So nicely done on that. Now,
Thank you.
So I don't know where Megan has secured herself away in her apartment, but not once tonight did the cat interrupt her. And because I was waiting for the moment to see the cat, and I was going to yell out, "Cat, interrupt this," and get you right on, Megan. But for some reason, you've done a good job, and your cat is nowhere in sight. So you are up. Take it away wherever you are.
So, of course, now he'll probably show, but we'll see. Well, he's actually behind me. Hold on. I have him as my background, so maybe he feels like he's watching me by photo. So the first one is called Puzzles. I realized I don't have a Thanksgiving poem. I'll have to work on that. But a couple years ago with the Write a Poem Challenge, the theme was puzzles, which kind of was family generated. So this is one of them out of that series. In the morning at the curvature, puzzle sky blue, piercing, almost man-made swaths of blue washing the night sky with tinted gesso, dropping the day ahead. In this time, I can almost gather myself, words, and paint ideas on a page. But the pieces of the day scatter like a swipe of the app to realign nothing but randomness. I am left with sharp edges to put back together, only nothing fits, or rather with pushing, pulling, rotating. The pieces almost fit, and the image on the screen is almost decipherable, but remains an enigma to figure out what missing keystone needs to be found, how to jigsaw a wholeness when the boss holds the piece that would glue together the way out of a fractured maze. In random, there is no answer, just a shuffle of unfitted tasks. There is no random, no moment where the click fits together the day ahead. Life is not a jigsaw with set parameters, and I remain a round chewed piece with nothing to anchor. Okay, the second one is Vanity of Mirrors. In the time of autumn and apples in the vanity of mirrors, I leave charred remains of the playroom. My face must be my muse, frozen, perfect. How can lines to mar the words the mirror repeats? My heart cannot, will not change. I must remain the fairest, and no one can bring love to mar perfection. I remain a slave to the mirror, reflecting truth for now. In the wake of time, I grow older in the race of man wanting perfection. I am fair, perfect, charmer, illusionist, spellbinder. Ever changed is overrated. I cannot change my nature. That is true. My face, my future fortune, the same image reflected. I didn't want this, but mirrors don't lie. Now in time of autumn and apples, I hunt. And then the final one is called Magnolia Magic. And I've rewritten this a couple of times and I'm not completely happy with it, but this is the latest version. Some good must come out of endless rainy days. Softer weather must appear if only on the day when the ghost magnolia blooms. Haunting dreams of fragrance-filled skies and rows of crinoline-clad ladies, sipping sweet tea and learning proper ways to avoid the encircling war. The magnolia wafted perfume on Lee's retreat, dropped leaves and gentility on the liberation of school and hymns, blushed white pink at first co-eds. The flames of the new millennium rooted out the last old tree, but each spring the magnolia blooms in ghostly memory. Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. Much appreciated. Jim Boucher, first time Zooming, sent me a message and he said he would like to read one more called The Writing. It's about the writing process. So that interests me right away. So Jim, you can close us out here. So take it away.
John, there he is.
Here I am.
There he is.
Do you hear me now?
Yep, Jim, take it away. You got it.
This is called Meticulous Process. The writing tail trail formed from years of procession enriches the soul. Refreshing godsends, persistent awakenings, notable forays. Challenging, flexing, but most of all, absorbing. Surprising mindset. It's a two-way street, a learning experience adding to know-how. When to get it done, anytime or on schedule. Select comfort zone. Project adroitly, order by start, middle, end. Advance to and fro. Patterns to choose from. Structure in adaptive ways. Sometimes charms from rhymes. Whatchamacallit, subject, shape, delivery. Spreading out rainbows. Rapt outlook applies. Transforming thoughts to entries. Suitable courses. Spinning verbal vibes. Candid, expressive gemstones for all to treasure. Forward attitude. Improvise and develop. Vary the structure. Always stay in gear. Write anywhere, anytime. Aware does appear. Articulation. Hickory dickory dock. E-I-E-I-O. Tipping the iceberg. Perceive the clear give and take. Dreaming for the rest. Open-minded stretch. Here it comes and there it goes. Through peaks and valleys. Profound depth and range. Over-imaginative. More than a handful. Look sharp balancing. Deciding where to put them. Good guess switcheroos. Double messages. Common denominator. Marrying flavors. Not sure about this. Recognize and consider. Rearrange later. Trust in miracles. Read, listen, sleep on it. True revelations. It can really go. Place in the right position. Apt puzzle technique. Don't have to find it. Don't always try to fit it. Don't overdo it. Upgrade substitutes. Complementary ideas. How they figure best. Last chance to review. Look twice finality. Nailing the voila. That's it.
Thank you, Jim. I think you hit it. I think you hit everything right there on the writing process and why I think we're all here and that we all love it. So
yeah,
it was perfect. It was a perfect end to the night. So I appreciate you reading that and asking to read that. So thank you very much.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. All right, people. Just a couple of anybody have any announcements? Anything? I just want to say that we've decided that we're going to have a Christmas Day edition of Spilled Ink because it falls on Christmas Day. So I think we're going to have about if I get a dozen people, and it seems like we're going to have double digits from the response I got tonight. I think it's worthy. So get out your sweater, Christmas sweaters, or T-shirts, or whatever you have, and get ready for the 25th.
Good.
Anybody else? Lesley, any announcements?
Well, December 12th, from 2 to 5, the Poets Anonymous open mic reading will be taking place on Zoom.
All right.
If you go on to Meetup and it doesn't say it's a Zoom meeting, please let me know. It keeps popping back and forth between an online meeting, and then it'll pop back to in person. And back in November, we actually had 3 people who showed up at Red Hot and Blue.
Wow.
Fortunately, because it was only 3, they were able to safely social distance. But you know, with the cases being the way they are,
right,
just not comfortable going back in person. And 3 people, maybe 4, would be the max we could safely put into that room. So, but it is on Meetup. If you want to, let me send you I'll put the email up.
Put it in the chat. All right. I will tell you, I love that we're Spilled Ink. I'm thankful for us because we always are here. Makes my day. Yes. Who's calling?
Did Sandra want to read?
Yes.
Oh, Sandra.
Yeah, sorry.
You're gonna do it. All right. I asked Gail, and Gail gave me the I think she's just gonna watch tonight. So this is wonderful. Sandra is going to read. I love it. She's a first timer. So Sandra, take it away. Tell us a little about yourself. I love it.
I'm a retired school teacher. I taught elementary school for way too long. No, I loved it. And I taught aerobics, and I was a librarian, and I now have spinal stenosis and I can't walk. So I've been writing, and I had written before some plays and stuff, you know, for my kids, that kind of stuff at school. But Paulette and some other good people pushed me a little bit, and I finally started to write. So this was my first attempt And excuse me if I cry. I think it's because I'm mad that I cannot walk. And it's hard to do it. And the tears just, I don't know, they just come out. So bear with me. This is called Free at Last. Okay. We have marched for hours, but freedom wasn't to be. Why can't they see? We bore beatings for no reason in any season. Why can't they see? Our Black ancestors came against their will, but the abuse continued still. Why can't they see? We prayed for justice and law. The police made us withdraw. Why can't they see? Screaming and crying, we were often led away for no reason. Why can't they see? So one day God decreed, it is time to make all this suffering cease. Free at last, too much time has passed. His booming voice declared, this must not last. Too much suffering has passed. In one great swoop of his mighty sword, God said, I am the Lord, and we must be of one accord. Be gone with the welts and ugly scars. The time has come to be as one, and peace came over the land. Heads bowed in shame, our mighty God shouted, I am in charge. You must obey and not delay. You may no longer maim. It shall not be the same. The earth shook and people saw that God decreed. We must change it all. We are one people, only one people, and we stand tall. All hands must join as one. And now God said, my job is done. Peace at last. Peace at last. Bless the God Almighty. Bow your heads and rejoice. We are free to join our voices in united chorus shouting, peace at last. Thank God Almighty, peace at last. A God of splendor rules this precious earth. No more tears, no more fears. We are one and only one. God Almighty rules this precious earth, and we stand our backs to the sun. Radiant heavenly light abounds, and we hear new sounds of hope and laughter. Forever after, we are one. Now do you see?
Andrew, that was beautiful.
Nicely done. Yeah,
That was great.
done.
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's perfect. Perfect timing for that poem too in this day. So it's perfect. Nicely done. I'm glad you spoke up. Yes.
Having a rough go of it.
Brian, you want to say something? Go ahead.
I'm just,
Most
thank you.
Most definitely. Hey, Miss Sandra, hey, you got family here. Hey, we love you, you know, and pain is pain. You know, we can all relate to that. But the good news is love, and you got love here. Welcome to the family.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank all of you for listening.
yes, we love writing.
You always say
we love
one
you.
time,
You got
long time. That's right, Brian. One time, long time.
We family now. We got you.
Yep. Because you guys, I'm telling you, I just love that we are spilled ink, and that we, you know, in this time, this is a lot of times this is the only socialization many of us get. So I enjoy this. I love listening to you. I love the stories. I love how diverse we are and how creative we are. And it's wonderful. So I appreciate all of you. I'm thankful for all of you, and stay safe out there. And remember, we're going to do it again in December. All right, for the 25th, for Christmas Day. Okay, so stay safe out there. And once again, I love you all, and we are.
Love you all as well. Happy late Thanksgiving.